The word Bronx was anything for me except a place. The Bronx was a word used in the French vocabulary to say that it was a mess. When someone used to play loud music in the neighborhood, in your own room, the mother or the father used to come and say, "What do you think you are, in the Bronx?"
For me, the Bronx, something about the Bronx is just, it brings fire in me. I mean, if they would do a show down in the Bronx or a big competition, it should be in the Bronx. This is where it started from. It's more spiritual.
If you wasn't from the Bronx, man, you was just beginning somewhere else.
We had the most clubs, we had the most musicians. You had to come up to the Bronx. Everybody was coming up to the Bronx.
We weren't looking for a way out of the barrio or out of the Bronx. None of that. For us, it was, to some extent, spiritual.
When you come out of that #2 train and it shoots out of that tunnel, man, you walked into a whole new world, man. This is it. You're in the United States now. The Bronx is really important because once you leave the islands, whether you come from Puerto Rico or Santo Domingo or Cuba, or you go to the other island, Brooklyn or Manhattan or Queens, then you arrive here, you're on the mainland. This is where everything spreads out.
I look at this place and, you see a baseball field. I've seen this block go through its entire life cycle. I mean, I could stand right here and I can go from like where I lived over there, where that green container is. My best friend Gerard O'Sullivan lived. By the right field poles, that was where the LeBron brothers lived. Over there by the tree was Connie's Candy Store. And I saw that go in a period of years. I moved from here. I left this place. And for a while, I felt nothing but shame about coming from here. Then that morphed into sadness. Everything you knew as a child, every visual cue from childhood was gone. It reminded me of like Psalm 137, by the rivers of Babylon, we sat and wept and remembered Zion. Now this wasn't exactly Zion, but it wasn't too shabby either.
Let's start this off with a little rhythm. It's one of the greatest tours in the world when you come to the Bronx. Yeah, my name is Angel Rodriguez, Cintrón, Rivera, Olivera, Simón, Frepelepe, Villanueva, de La Paz. Aha. Aha. Come on, everybody. Aha.
If you grew up in the 70s, you know about the South Bronx, how the whole neighborhood burned down to the ground. But a more recent generation know it as the place where hip-hop was born, rising up like a phoenix from the ashes. If you're a little bit older, you remember a time when this turf shaped the hot New York Latin music sound that came to be known as salsa. In the years following World War II, hard times in Puerto Rico drove more than 500,000 people from the island to New York City looking for work and decent housing. U.S. citizens since 1917, Puerto Ricans settled in East Harlem and the South Bronx.
Yo, Papa, this is your field. What's up? Show me. Come on, buddy, baby.
Practically everybody I knew in the music business, I met him in a schoolyard. Then from there, we went on. And stickball is what really got me into music.
We called it the poor man's baseball. Half the kids couldn't afford gloves and equipment, so they invented the stickball with a rubber ball, and you steal your mother's broomstick, take the straw out, and you had a bat.
They would play stickball right on Kelly Street, and when you hit from the stickball, you were hitting towards Longwood Avenue, and the candy store was right on Longwood and Kelly Street.
We all hung out in a candy store called the Mambo Candy Store. It was run by Eddie Palmieri's father. And we used to hang out there because they always had the best records.
I was in charge of the jukebox. It was the hippest jukebox in the whole area, you know, because my brother at that time was playing with Tito Puente already. So I knew what was going on constantly to my brother, and that jukebox was happening. So from the stickball games, everybody was going in there, and then with the jukebox going, and Mambo was happening, and everybody was starting to be dancing.
Eddie Palmieri, Joe Quijano, Orlando Marin, they were all stickball guys. And we talked about music between stickball games. They would ask us, do you want to come to our little rehearsal at PS52? Because we're going to make a little group. So we would go to PS52.
Sit back a little bit.
Ooga! How you got here?
Ooga!
We're gonna fine you for being late.
God bless you.
Okay.
That's the new word for it.
Pull out the cheese.
That's the new word for it.
We rehearsed right in the auditorium.
Oh, boy. I hardly fit in this chair right now. Another inch, I don't fit in here.
PS52 on Kelly Street was a magnet for young musicians. Eddie Palmieri, Ray Barreto, Ray Cohen, Orlando Marin, Joe Quijano, Manny Oquendo, and many others studied there or used to rehearse there.
They would let us rehearse here, and we would perform Friday nights in the gym. This was the beginning of the era of the mambo dancing.
The mambo was song, Cuban song, came to New York City, the Cubans in the 20s, they came to New York City with song, and what happened with song, it was New Yorkerized. It was New Yorkerized.
Did you see the book he bought in? 1957.
67, right.
Oh, so, but guess what we found? We found all your reports and your grades. We don't have them in order, but I know you didn't graduate.
You didn't graduate. In those days, there was live music everywhere. No discos, no records, live music, even in the smallest bar. I used to go from one bar to the other. If they needed a guy, I would ask the band leader, oye, man, you bug, I'm tocan. Oh, tú tocas? Yeah, sure I play, man. Play all night from 9 to 1 a.m. and leave for free. I'll tell the guy, oh, gee, thanks a lot, man.
Being a young man at that time, there was so many artists that were living in the Bronx. You had Tito Rodriguez living in the Bronx at that time. You had Tico Valdez. Being able to see them going to work, and at that time, all the orchestras, you know, had uniforms. You know, they were all in uniform, so you would see them going to, you know, to work in uniforms and say, wow, look at that. You know, constantly seeing them and then knowing about them and hearing them on the records certainly was a stimuli for us, and we wanted to be able to play with one of these orchestras someday.
One of the things that I remember vividly when I was growing up in the South Bronx is the sound of drums resonating through the canyons of the projects. The music was so much in full force. The culture was so in your face. There was no way that you could escape it, even if you wanted to. Even if you wanted to. You come from Puerto Rico, man. You come to New York City, the urban capital of the world, not just the United States. You want to get hip, man. You want to, like, you know, get up to speed with what's happening. You start dressing differently. You start talking differently. You start walking differently.
When we were kids, like 14, 13, you know, we all had long hair then. So we used to carry hair combs, man, and like, yo, man, you know, put the hair back. So the combs were, we get to get 3 or 4 guys on a cart.
When I was...
the tack. I feel sorry for that guy's car, man. Now that I'm an old timer, oh my God, and that was my car, smack him.
That's a great beat, man.
So you could take the most uneducated person from the mountains of Puerto Rico, un jíbaro del campo, as we say. All of a sudden, he comes to New York City in the 40s, goes to the Park Palace Ballroom on 110th Street and 5th Avenue. The band that they heard was the Machito Orchestra, this incredible hip orchestra that's so sophisticated that even people in the jazz world, their mouths were open when they would see and hear this band. So in 6 months, you see that same Jíbaro del Campo walking, talking, bopping their head, and all of a sudden they're a New York hipster. You ask me about salsa, what it was, just Cuban music with a freaking New York attitude.
Mario Bauza came from Havana, and he was not a white Havana, habanero, like they say habanero. He was Afro, dark skin. And the band that he was allowed to be in, because in those days, let's face it, all the bands were all white or Afro. There was no mix at all. But he wants to make a mambo band. He writes a letter home, he tells his in-law, who happened to be Machito, come to New York, we're gonna make a band.
Machito was first to declare the blackness of his band. Machito and his Afro-Cubans. When other people might want to push that to the side and not make it a rallying cry for what they do, Macho was throwing it out there for the world to see. In Arsenio's band, Kike used to pitch the drum very low, so that there was a sound that was like the earth. Your mind wanders to Africa because of that timbre of sound. You know, it wasn't, it was funky, it was soulful, and it was a link to Africa.
Amalia te invita, que venga la rumba y oye mi rumba que vuela, yo me tiro.
When the Afro beat, which started to originate, the mambo came out, it went right in with your shoulders, with feeling it. And as the music played that you danced, you felt every beat of it that gave you pleasure. My stepfather was a piano player, and all you guys, all you want is mambo, 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 and dum, 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 dum. You'd have 2 or 3 bands there, they were all giving each other competition. So you know, if you're there for 2 or 3 hours, you are dancing your life out. I would go dancing. I can't go here. I can't wear lipstick. I can't do that. I don't care. I'm dancing and I feel good.
It became infectious.
Yes.
It spread like wildfire. Thank goodness.
Mambo transformed the landscape of the South Bronx. Jewish catering halls became Latin music ballrooms. Irish vaudeville theaters became Spanish language theaters.
You're looking at a man that experienced coming to the Teatro Puerto Rico when I was a little child. It was a lot of big events. They even brought horses on stage, you know, and singers of all kinds.
The first time going there was as a child with my father. And there were always these Latin spectaculars. They showed you a movie, and then they had what we call Latino vaudeville. So you would see a singer, you would see a comedian, a juggler. It always seemed always that they would drive a car onto the stage. You know, some local dealership had a deal going on, so they drive a new car onto the stage and show it to you. Some people find it impossible to believe, but it's true. You know, Federico Pagani was a promoter, had been a promoter in New York from the 30s on, the only promoter that worked that did Latin dances. And he threw a show where he put up on the marquee, you know, tonight only, you have Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, Eddie Palmieri, Joe Cuba, the LeBron brothers, Johnny Pacheco. I mean, he had every name in the business up on this marquee for $5, 2 shows, $5 each show. And my father said, come on, we're going to go see the show. We go in. And the show was at 5 o'clock. And 5 o'clock came by, nothing happens. But that's natural, right? You know, PRT time, Puerto Rican time, right? So you got 5, you got 5:10, nothing happens. 5:15, nothing happens. 5:20, nothing. Now people are starting to get restless, and you gotta understand that Puerto Rico hosts like 3,000 people. It's the 6th largest theater in New York City at the time. Capacity-wise, it was the 6th largest theater. And people are restless, and they're throwing stuff up on stage, and the guy through Federico comes out, and he's like, dodging, you know, napkins and plates and whatever else they throw up. And cue me, cue me, cue me. And people go quiet, you know. There will be no show tonight. Man, it's like shocked silence, right? And he quickly follows up and he tells them, the truth is that my mother needed an operation and I needed the money and, you know, I couldn't just ask for it, so I decided to do this. And, you know, you people have been so nice to me over the years with all my dances. People are like, there's like 3,000 Puerto Ricans now. You gotta imagine, man. You would think they would rush the stage and kill this guy, but he had been responsible all those years. So somebody yells out, fuck it, man, let him keep the money, right? It's only $5. And they start filing out, man, and Federico yells out, and don't forget, tell your friends, there's another show at 10!
In this neighborhood, there was a very powerful mixing of African Americans from the South, and then you had Puerto Ricans from the island. So now the children of those people are growing up here together, and there's an interchange of rhythm and blues with mambo. So you have African Americans who can mambo dance as good as anybody, and then you have Puerto Ricans who are doo-wopping in hallways and subways where the echo is really nice, you know, and sounding like any other doo-wop group, sounding just as good.
One thing that's undeniable, if it wasn't for the Puerto Rican community of Spanish Harlem, of the South Bronx, Afro-Cuban music would never have survived in this country and expanded to the heights that it has.
The Cuban musical forms that New York City's Puerto Rican community had inherited finally exploded with an aggressive sound that the Fania record company marketed as salsa. It culminated with a concert in 1973 by the Fania All-Stars at Yankee Stadium, right in the heart of the South Bronx.
Salsa is an urban music. Salsa could have only happened in New York and in a place like the Bronx because of the diversity of the people that were playing it. Salsa, first of all, is not a rhythm. Salsa is a concept. It's an inclusion and reconciliation of all the things that we are here in the Bronx and the music that we made together. We not only wanted to make music, we had a goal. We wanted to convey a social and political message, and salsa was very important for that because it was our voice. It was one of the few things that was not controlled.
Over 40,000 screaming fans attended the event. The majority of the musicians on stage that night grew up or lived within a few dozen blocks of the stadium. It was a climactic moment of the South Bronx Latin music explosion.
At one point, when I heard Puente playing by the public library, I left my cab on 40th Street, running. It was running, and I ran into the park to hear Puente and find somebody to dance with. That's how I was affected by it. I mean, naturally, a bell went off in my head. I said, God, I better get back to that cab before I get a ticket or it gets stolen. But if I had found a dance partner, I don't know if I still have a job.
Tito was a mambo dancer, you know. Before he was a musician, he was a dancer, a professional dancer. So now he combined the ability to be so good on his instrument, but he was a dancer at the same time. Tito took the timbales and put him in front of the band, mainly because he had to lead the band. But he was another one who put the emphasis on the rhythm. And that's what helped the dancers really get into that mambo groove. See, when we dance, all of us, we dance to rhythm. So now you have this rhythm that's just pushing and driving like a bus going down the highway, man, driving and pushing. And then you got the melody behind you, man. So these people are dancing there behind them, man, you know?
When you dance a mambo, when you dance in salsa, man, you have to be very on top of it. And there's the solo, and there's, the break. And the drum be playing, and they mark it, mark it, mark it, mark it. And then it becomes this whole thing where you become one with the drum. The whole audience becomes one because the ritual of the beat is going at a certain tempo. And that creates, that what I call the hypnotic. Once you hit that cycle that it's happening, then you're already there, you're elevated. Then when the dancer moves in and he starts connecting with the drummer, which essentially is what hip-hop is all about, connecting with the drum and the bass, then you're marking it. And if you're able to anticipate what he's doing, or that communication becomes so strong that you both are hitting at the same time, that's the moment where the whole room actually lifts up. There's a spiritual aspect of it.
Holy mackerel. That was Tito Puente.
Drugs kicked in the Bronx 1953. And that was the beginning of the end, because it spread like a cancer from the Bronx to El Barrio because of the close social link, you know, and it just continued. I saw it, and I would tell people, man, it's coming, and nobody paid attention. And I had dear friends die or ODs and all that. It's tragic. But the fact that it altered the social scene was even more tragic, because the dance halls disappeared.
Loco de contento con su cargamento para la ciudad, para la ciudad.
Nobody cared about the Bronx. It was a joke, you know. The city was going through its own bankruptcy. I think that was around the time that the feds told New York to drop dead.
Well, the most important thing that led to the economic decline of the South Bronx was the building of the Cross Bronx Expressway. That killed the South Bronx, because all of these middle-class families that were Jewish, Italian, and from other groups, all of a sudden it disappeared.
I lived in the last apartment in a burnt-out building with my grandmother and my sister, and it was very, very scary.
One night, I woke up, and my father and mother were like, let's get the hell out of here. The apartment across the hall, down one flight, was on fire. Where that fire escape is over there, on the 4th floor, there was a fire there. And I remember going down the stairs, and there were windows by the stairway. And I still remember my father carrying me, and I could feel the heat on me coming off that thing. And you're not scared, it's just weird. It's like it's happening to somebody else. There were so many fires that, there were so many fire alarms that you could dance to the sound of the bells. That's an image. That's an image, because I'm sure there's a lot of dancing, but I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of jumping.
The Puerto Rican lyrics were a little bit more social. Se Me Quema la Casa is about when the landlords were burning down the buildings here in the Bronx for insurance.
People gradually began moving towards the West Bronx. Going around the South Bronx, you could see, like, gradually the devastation and the abandonment, like, moving in that same direction. Somehow this devastation was following us. It wasn't going to shake us loose. It was trying to grab us, grab a hold of us. And there was this real fear. Are we going to be able to survive this?
By the early 70s, the South Bronx came to be regarded as an idea, not just a place. Its residents kept moving to avoid the devastation. But even when they moved north, the neighborhoods they moved to came to be called the South Bronx.
If anyone were to ask me to characterize my teenage years, you know, the fear factor was running into a gang. And it didn't matter, because you could run into the Imperial Bachelors, you could run into the Golden Guineas.
The turbans, the dragons, the Latin kings, the drinkses.
You could run into the ministers, you could run into, you know, the spades.
Oh, God, renegades.
Whoever it was, you were gonna have trouble if you weren't affiliated. Because they had things like Get Whitey Day. Now look at me. You know, I could stand there for hours and tell somebody I'm Puerto Rican, but in that kind of atmosphere, they're not gonna ask you if you're Puerto Rican, so they had Get Whitey Day for 2 years in a row. People running around smacking people because they were light-colored, you know? That's the kind of bullshit that was happening up here.
If you went through the neighborhood, flying a color you're not supposed to fly in their territory without their permission, your jacket came off. There was no bargaining for it. Your jacket or your life. Or you go back, you know, some scars, you know, to let you know that, you know, you came through the place where you wasn't supposed to go through.
You have to have this deadpan look. When you have this deadpan look, no kid will dare to come up to you and talk anything to you. Because you got this stone cold killer's look. And, you know, I need to practice it. Before you know, it was no more practice after that. It became just me. I grew up in my block was gang infested. Everybody was in a gang. We saw everybody wearing these vests and everything. So my cousin was rolling with the Savage Skulls. And one day he told me they're looking to open up a little squad. And I'm like, a squad of what? He said, yeah, you know, gang. You want to be a gang member? I was like, gang member? Ain't that too small? And he was like, nah, they're going to open a squad where the baby skulls is going to be the ones that carry the weapons. That way the older guys won't get in trouble. The first division of baby skulls were from 8 to 9 years old. I had to go through this Russian roulette. And I'm like, what? And I thought it was fake because nothing happened to me, you know? But after I joined up, they did it again to someone dropped right there. So it was like, it got to be real. Because, you know, you're not there all the time seeing someone die, you know? So, you know, when it happened, it happened.
In 1973, gang leaders, weary of the endless cycle of violence, organized a citywide peace meeting held at the Boys Club on Hoe Avenue in the South Bronx.
You took away one of our brother's lives, man. And we were right down the funeral looking at him, saying, I wish the immortals, if they were there, to see what it is to take away one of our brother's lives. When we have static, man, we settle out among ourselves, man, because like, wow, we got to live in this district. The whiteys don't come down here, man, and live in the fucked up houses, man. The whiteys don't come down here, man, and have all the fucked up fucking no heat in the fucking winter time. You understand? We do, Jack. So therefore, like, wow, we got to make it a better place to live.
Everybody started getting these flyers for a party that was being done in Bronx River. It was like, come one, come all, leave your colors at home, you know? Certain things on that flyer, man. I tell my cousin, come on, let's go. He was like, no, that's a setup. No, because they heard about that before. Like some clubs, like you go to the like social clubs or something, they go, oh, come, a nice little family party. You go there, it's a setup. They close the doors on you and they cut you up and you got a big, that's been happening a lot too. So my cousin, I said, yo, man, I don't know, this sounds like something good. So we went to the door, and I was just amazed that when we came in, all you heard was music, right? But next thing you know, you see some people dancing, you know, because they probably already used to it. Dancing some funk dance or whatever, with girls and everybody. You're like looking at them like, yeah. And then this guy gets up, and it's the guy, bam. And I look at him, I'm like, oh, that's that motherfucker. He said he's a Black Spade. I said, yo, it's a setup, you know? So we started going closer to the door. Van Barber's up there. He said, excuse me, yeah. His voice sounded real soft, you know, like, it sounded harsh. He's like, excuse me, can everyone be quiet for a minute? And the music boy, he was like, I'm trying to do this because I feel like all we're doing is killing each other. He said things like, now he realized why they always left the gangs alone. Even though gangs members got arrested here and there, he wanted to know why the gangs were continuously on through the 50s on to the 70s. Why? And he said, you know why? Because they don't give two shits about us. He said they don't care about us, and they want us to end each other.
The hip-hop movement dented that whole gang thing. It's like, hey, this is something else that we can get on. It can empower us. We can still be like a bunch of dudes rolling, but we rolling with something that's cool. We ain't gotta hide what we doing. We ain't gotta run from no police. It could be a whole bunch of us all together, and it's all good because we here in peace.
It's the Bronx in the house.
See, Bam kept it in the parks. Bam kept staying in the park and kept doing his thing in the parks, in the schoolyards, where anyone could go in there, you know? 11-year-old kid could walk in there. A kid and his mother could go in there. The jams in the park are the best I ever had in my life.
I'm sitting there, and this guy comes in, and his name is Grand Wizard Theodore. And this is the man that did the scratching for the first time. Right? This is the man that had his music so loud in his room. How many times people, the mother come in the room like, baja esa música? The same thing, right? He was in his room, and his mother came in, and he went to stop it, and it scratched, right? Was that...
I think Kool Herc, when he started bringing his house jams out into the street, where everybody could enjoy the music and everybody could enjoy that type of atmosphere, it became more of a community coming together than a community being divided. We didn't have a place where we could all come together, and I think that's what hip-hop did. We would go to our clubs, which was no YMCA, none of that. We would go to an abandoned building in which we took and kind of like renovated maybe 1 or 2 apartments, and it became a second home to us.
We kind of like, you know, it was a bad thing that the Bronx was burning down or other, but we kind of like liked it in the fact that we have clubs left and right, you know, and for a lot of us, that used to be our first apartments.
A bunch of little kids walking around with a mattress going into an abandoned building, you know, finding a old broken down chair or something. Oh, that's a good thing for the living room for our club.
We came here tonight to throw down and spread the word all around town. So young ladies, don't front on me now. We know that you want to get down. The music that you hear is a treat, so get your butt up out of your seat. The rap will have you stomping your feet to the sounds of the funky breaking bells beat.
This facility that you see right now used to be where the legendary dungeon, which was an abandoned building, was brought by Joey from the city for $1. I think in 1978, for the B-boys and the urban kids, this was our Studio 54.
That was a good thing for us because we ain't had to dance in the street no more, you know? We just hook up the street light, and boom, we got a club. Some of them clubs were so hooked up that we had rooms, we had heat, we had electricity. Shit, can't go wrong, man. We used to party all night, wake up in the morning, shoplift breakfast, come back and party days straight, you know? Got a bunch of mothers looking for their kids. They don't know where they at. We in the club dancing.
For me, how hip-hop started for me, it was in one of the community rooms. There was no light in there. It was dark as hell. The place was jam-packed. It was a sweat box, and all you could see was this one light over the turntables, and he was playing that kind of music. And when I saw what he was doing to the crowd and the type of music that he was playing was the music that turned me on. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I said to myself, I'm never going to get my foot in the door as Carlos Mendez because this is hip-hop. You know, you got Flash, you got Theodore, you got all these cats, and they're all black. You know, I like playing this music, but I'm Spanish. I'm not going to be accepted if I go out there as DJ Carlos Mendez. Just the name alone is going to make you not want to come in the door. So I said, I got to come up with a stage name. I got to come up with something, and I came up with all kind of stupid ideas. DJ Snake, DJ Quick, DJ, and they were like, these are all too corny for me. I got to come up with a name that means something that has a meaning to me.
Below the capital floor, MCXX, and it don't come at all if it ain't correct. Don't have to bite, not necessary.
And then there was this television show called Chase, where the beginning of the movie started with a license plate that said Chase on it, and the car would take off on it. You know, it started that way. And I said, Chase, Charlie Chase. I said, because in reality is that you know you're just as good as these guys that are out now, especially Flash. Flash was the guy I felt that I was chasing. He was like ahead of me, and I was chasing the guy. And I'm like, that's perfect, man. This is the perfect name for me. I'm going to stick with this name, DJ Charlie Chase.
Stop beat in the jungle, brother. In the jungle, brother. In the jungle, brother.
The jams in the park were basically like you wake up one day and they say, you know what, I want to play in the park. And you just put the word out to the guys in the neighborhood, and guys would come out to come help you bring your stuff to the park. That's it, just like that.
You hear the music on Fordham Road, you're ready. But getting closer to the jam, yeah. Closer to the jam, yeah. People just go in the park and just make it up right there to scratch a chicka chick 1 2. You know, the music would just take you like, oh, you know, you just let everything go for a minute. Because our main priority as dancers was the music. We didn't care about who the hell was MCing. You play music, you're a DJ that plays the type of music we like to dance to, like Grandmaster Caz and Chase.
In my house, my mom was like, what the hell are you doing? You know, why aren't you playing some salsa music like the other DJs? They're making good money. Look at Freddie down the block. He plays at the bar. He's coming home with $100 a night. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that, Ma. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, salsa's beautiful, man. We love salsa. But you can't dance with salsa music. So we would use the music that they would play out for us, you know? Blow Your Head, Super Sperm, Let's Dance, When You Got the Feeling, man, that was Charlie Chase. He used to play that all the time. I used to love Charlie Chase because I know he was going to rock that for me.
It was never really like, you know, I'd go up there and say, oh, yeah, I'm the Hispanic DJ playing Hispanic music, and no, it wasn't like that. I was a Puerto Rican DJ playing hip-hop music, and I was good at it.
The earliest and first B-boys were black. All the crews and mostly everybody was black. When Latinos started breaking, they were emulating what they saw, you know, the black people doing. Okay, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. But soon afterwards, what really added to the decline of B-boying in the black community, and even in the hip-hop community, was that the girls weren't with it. What are they gonna do while you spinning on the floor? How you gonna ask a girl to dance and then just flip and start, you know what I mean? So girls was like, y'all still into that hibbity hop. And then the girls started going to the disco.
Oh yes, it's ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Oh yes, it's ladies' night, oh what a night. Oh what a night.
Disco is a party. It's theatrical, it's full-blown, it's dress up, it's put on shoes and a suit, and get your girl, and you know what I mean, and you go and you dance together. You know, disco was just really too polished. You gotta understand, hip-hop is the streets alternative to disco. Hip-hop was a grassroots street, it came from desperation. Hip-hop came from people's basic need for an outlet. We were either gonna start hip-hop or start a revolution, man.
B-boying is a competitive thing, just like DJing was. We had a battle to get our props, you know, to get our respect, to get known. After a while, you'll see your routine gets stale, so you get pushed.
One of the DJs would set up his equipment on one side of the plaza. The other guy would set up his equipment on the other side. You see these stacks of speakers, and they would go at it, you know, and they would take turns playing. But depending on who was better, the crowd would move over to that direction, and whoever had the most people around their system was the winner.
The rebirth of breaking was with the Rocksteady crew. Because when all the famous, the biggest and the hottest B-boy crews and B-boys that started this thing had stopped and said, we ain't doing that no more, they was like, yo, we'll do it. I don't care if a girl don't dance with me. I don't care about all these people saying breaking played out and breaking it and why you still breaking it. And they brought that whole culture back up to a level that, you know what I mean, would have been forgotten.
I was walking down the block and I seen these kids. They were just like, I demonstrate. They were doing top rock. They were doing footwork. They were doing footwork, fancy moves, and getting up. And I was like, wow, that's hot. I need to learn that.
Every culture has some kind of dance for celebration and stuff like that, and that's what it was. Brooklyn rock was more disco. It had more swing to it, you know? When I saw it, I think Bronx is the one that brought it to the game, more of the stabbing and the jigging from the gangs. It was more like fighting, you know? You know, some guys was not, you know, some guys would just go in there like punching, you know? They come in there like this, yeah, you know? You know, like trying to tempt you, going close to your face, you know? That's supposed to be a dance, but
instead of fighting, we would just get with the dancing. And sometimes it was like, you know, like in the old times, oh yeah, meet me out under the bridge at 12 o'clock, and we'd be there to battle.
Sometimes the warlords of each gang would come and start this dance. And if they wanted to go to war, all you had to do was grab his hat, throw it on the floor, step on it, all while you're dancing, and turn around and fly your colors. And it's on. The name of the game was basically to humiliate your partner. Humiliate him, dance better than him.
Almost like a rumble. It was like a rumble, like with a gang, oh yo, you dissed my woman, or yo, you stepped on my sneakers, because that was a big thing back then. You don't step on nobody's sneakers.
Especially the Adidas, man. You step on my Adidas, it's on. We fighting. We ain't even gonna battle. We fighting. But time has changed. You know, you step on somebody's sneaker and they say, yo, I'm sorry. You know, excuse me. You know.
You're not a friend anymore when the music drops. We could say hi when they, you know, when they playing a dance that you could freak to, but when a break beat comes down, you're in that circle. You know, you're just an opponent.
That day when we went there and we battled them, and Rocksteady was there, we actually was in a circle. It's called a cipher. The crowd was like this, and I was like, yo, come on, let's get in here. You gotta squeeze in, because everybody's looking. You know, when there's a battle, everybody's tight. Give me some room, hold on, let him finish. I was like, come on, squeeze in there, squeeze in there. So I squeezed, wavy leg, go in there, push. Start breaking, boom, start doing top rock. Took off his shirt, boom, revealed his letters. He used to have all English letters with your name on it. Boom, he took off his shirt, wavy legs. He started waving, boom. All of a sudden, Crazy Legs seen that his name was Wavy Legs. There was a spark there. Crazy Legs, Wavy Legs. It sounds similar. They went at it. Crazy went at it. All of a sudden, yo, Crazy, boom, Crazy, the Rocksteady crew. They started, boom. They started battling, boom. Then I come out, Kid Freeze. You got Frosty Freeze comes out, doing his thing, boom.
You fall in love with the dance, and the goal that you reach, when you get it, is that ghetto celebrity status.
I think what the Latinos brought into it was the finesse of the moves. We really took it serious, man. You know, it was our thing, and we knew it was our thing, so we stuck with it. And we was the type of guys, Latinos, that we would take a loss, very tough.
I mean, we don't need cameras, we don't need microphone, just put on the record and it's on. You know, and into B-boy for life, you gotta be true. You can't be fake. Someone to battle, yo, let's battle. Oh, hold on, I can go home and practice. No, we do it right now. Concrete, whatever. That's how a B-boy warrior is.
We're looking to become one with that beat, with that rhythm, to the point where your body is a musical instrument. And once it clicks, you can almost feel it.
What we added was the Latino flavor. And what I think all B-boys in the Hispanic community that fell in love with the dance, that's what we brought into the table. Zulu King Foundation, Boricua flavor.
I'm always trying to find that connection between what happened then and what's happening now. When I look at some of the old footage of some of, like, for instance, in Mambo Madness, these guys dancing, boom, and they drop on the floor and do some around the world front sweeps, I get chills.
The Nuyorican kids who were dancing the early forms of hip-hop saw what their parents were dancing. Even though salsa didn't give birth to hip-hop, these two vibrant musical forms came of age in the same place, and it was the South Bronx and its people that made them what they are.
I believe that typically people that grow up in an oppressive type of society are always looking for medicine. And for us, cultural expression is the medicine.
It would be a way out, like if you danced, you felt all this pressure left you. What you didn't want to know about, you forgot. What was hurting you wouldn't bother you. Dance was life.
Cuando Dios nos determina o nos remedia los males, no te valen los cordiales, ni los caldos de gallina, no te valen los collares que te puso tu madre. Cuando Dios nos determina. You like that, man? Who can freestyle, man? Who can freestyle over the top of the head? Come on. All right, let's keep it down.
Let's hear it.
Let's keep it down so we can hear the. I want to hear the beatbox, but I want to do clave on top of the beatbox, and the clave is the basis of all the music that we're talking about.
You gotta say what? What they thinking?
Soy Tito Puente, mírame la frente como un presidente, le canta a mi gente porque soy inteligente.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's hard to explain to people what you feel for a place like this. It's really hard. I mean, you know, I feel everything for this place. Is it heaven? No. Is it hell? Hell no. It is what it is, which is it's still around. You know, and I'll settle for that on a good day.
Cuando le pedí la mano de la mujer que yo quiero, mi madre me dio en la chola con la mano del morotel. Ay, mira, 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 lo que se piensa de ello casi siempre sale al revés. Ay, mira, 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 lo que se piensa de ello casi siempre sale al revés.
Back in time, what will you see? Poverty and love fill the city. You see, these facts don't bother me. I get strength from my roots. Father and son fulfill the prophecy. Mama with my veins, man, I still ride the train. All the old folks still look young again. They invented the style, they spoke the slang. If you can't dig, then you from out of town, man. Listen to the rhythm, then you'll see how the dopest start form from NYC. The South Bronx, the home of the brave. It had the most dance clubs back in the day, and the most South settlers from around the way. PS52 is the school they played. They ignited the fire that burns to this day. This is folklore, man. Folks was poor, and through it all, the music still soared. You can hear it in the drums coming through the horns. Passion, a new hope was born. The beats complex, the dance is even more. You can hear the sound coming from the corner store. The year 1973, Yankee Stadium, maximum capacity. Fire brought it down from the ground to the balcony. Saya Barreto and Hector Lavoe. Mambo and salsa got so much soul. El abanico de Tito, the sound of my people. It's a real symbol like American Eagle. The sound of the balas is matched by none. The sound is power like the blast of a gun. But when they kept it positive like the light of the sun. The energy flows, man, you know where it's from. The South Bronx, so don't play dumb. Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. It's Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. It don't stop, it don't stop. The native son of the city, rhyming with his pops. It's Mambo to hip hop. It's Mambo to hip hop. It's Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. Fast forward 20 years and you're in the 80s. Hip hop was born, she was just a baby. The music of the future, born from the ashes. Amongst the lower classes, the music was blasted. Misunderstood the youth of the time. Now you hear the music, rhyme after rhyme brings chills down your spine. It takes over your mind, takes over the globe, and it just won't stop. The South Bronx made it from Mambo to hip hop. You had breakers riding on their backs, then you had the bombers sneaking on the tracks, tagging up the trains and not looking back. DJs and MCs holding it down, bringing gangs together, not for a showdown, but by the rock a party showing mad love. B-boys and girls catching all the dub. Charlie Chase was cutting and scratching. And if it wasn't for the love, then it don't mean nothing. The South Bronx, the home of the flyers. The vibes burned the highest and the music wasn't biased. Whites and blacks, don't forget the Spanish. Hip-hop is real deep like the Grand Canyon. Do your homework and watch Star Wars. All the old school is coming back in force. Now you know where it's from. The South Bronx, so don't play dumb. The South Bronx, so don't play dumb. It's Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. It's Mambo to hip hop, love non-stop. It's Mambo to hip hop. It's Mambo to hip hop. The native son of the city, rhyming with his pops. It's Mambo to hip hop. It's Mambo to hip hop. I said it's Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. What? Mambo to hip hop, the love don't stop. The love don't stop, and the love don't stop. Ya no pasó, ya no pasó. Yeah. non-stop. It's Mambo to Hip Hop, the love don't stop. It don't stop, it don't stop. The native son of the city, rhyming with his pops. And without a doubt, mad love to Cool Herc, Tito Rodriguez, and Machito.